Hoofstuk 19, toiletpapier. Chapter 19 is toilet paper. Het is Vrydag aand, ons kuier by Ryan hulle se huis. Ek en Div slaap by hom oor. Ons is alleen. Sy ma hulle is uit vir die aand. Hulle sal eers na 12 terug wees. Ons speel Xbox en kyk 'n fliek. Ryan het vroeër vir ons 'n pizza bestel. Ons het 'n paar van sy pa se biere ook geknak. Die oom kom dit nooit agter nie. Of dalk gee hy net nie om nie. Nou wat nou, vra Div toe Ryan onverwags die afstandbeheer vat en die fliek laat vries. Jy kan nie halfpad deur 'n car chase die ding pause nie. Ouens, ek is verveeld, sê Ryan. Gaan ons die hele aand hier sit en mif, of gaan ons iets meer opwindend doen? Nou laat ons hoor, sê Ryan. Nou laat ons hoor, sê Div en sit opgewonde regop. Ryan se plan beteken moeilikheid. Ek hoef nie eens klaar te luister om dit te weet nie. En tog, die idee is vrek snaaks. En dis opwindend om dit saam met Ryan en Div te doen. Ryan gaan haal vir ons elk in 'n donker top in sy kamer. Terwyl ons dit aantrek, gaan kry hy 2 Woolworths sakke vol rolle toiletpapier en 'n emmer water. Right, so we finally finding out what happened at the school and why Luan was in trouble. It was Friday night. They were visiting at Ryan's house, and he and Div were going to spend the night. They were alone because Ryan's mom and them were out for the evening, and they would only be back after 12 o'clock. They had been playing Xbox, and now they were watching a movie. Earlier on, Ryan ordered pizza for them. And they also finished off a few of his father's beers. And Ryan's dad never seems to realize that they've been drinking his beers. Or maybe he just doesn't really care. What now? Div asked when Ryan unexpectedly switched off the movie or froze the movie. You can't stop the movie halfway through a car chase, he says. Ryan says, guys, I'm bored. Are we going to sit here miffing the whole night? Or are we going to do something exciting? So Div says, oh, well, let's hear. And he sits up, he's quite excited. Ryan's plan means trouble. I don't have to even finish listening before I know that. And yet, the idea is extremely funny. And it's exciting to be able to do it with Ryan and Div. Ryan goes and fetches them each a dark top from his room. And while they're getting dressed in these dark tops, obviously because it's night and they don't want to be seen, he goes and he fetches 2 packets of Woolworths toilet rolls, full toilet rolls, and a bucket of water. Dit is crazy. Soos die meeste van Ryan se planne. Die motorrek sys geruisloos oop en ons glip uit. Die strate is stil en donker die tyd van die aand. My hart bons wild in my keel, maar is 'n lekker gevoel. Ryan stap voor. Hy weet duidelik waarheen hy op pad is. Ons voetstappe klink onheilspellend in die donker. Honde blaf agter duivelsverkynings, terwyl ons verbyloop. Elke keer as ons onder 'n straatlig deurstap, voel dit vir my asof die hele wêreld ons kan sien. Hoe ver is dit nog? Kla Div. Hierdie emmer weeg 'n ton. Hou op klaar, sê Ryan. Ek dog jy benchpress sal lag 60 kg. Anyway, hier is ons. Die huis is in 'n stil singel. Die vensters is donker. Hoe het jy uitgevind waar hy bly, fluister ek. Ryan lag saggies. There are many ways to kill a cat. Gelukkig is daar nie 'n straatlig reg voor die huis nie, maar daar is steeds genoeg lig dat ons mekaar kan sien. Ryan maak een van die plastiek sakke oop en gee vir my en Div elkeen 'n rol toiletpapier aan. Eers die bome, sê hy. So this is a crazy plan, like the most of Ryan's plans apparently. The car gate opened silently and they slipped out of the property. The streets were still and dark at this time of night. Luan's heart was bouncing wildly in his throat. Heart in his throat. Anyway, but it was a nice feeling according to Luan. Ryan walked in front. He clearly knew the way. Their footsteps sounded almost like onheilspellend is like. Oh my gone blank. All I'm spelling is that like there's trouble coming. In the dark. And dogs are barking behind Devil's Fork fences. You know those fences with like the sharp prongs on the top. Every time they walk past the street lamp, it feels though the whole world can see them. Div wants to know how far it is because he says the bucket is weighing a ton. And Ryan just says to him, stop moaning. I thought you were bench pressing easily 60 kilograms. Anyway, here we are. The house is in quite a quiet little crescent. The windows are all dark. And Luan whispers, how did you find out where he stays? Ryan laughs softly and he says, there's many ways to kill a cat. Fortunately, there's no street lamp right in front of the house, but there's still enough light so they can see each other. Ryan opens one of the plastic bags and gives Luan and Div each a roll of toilet paper. And he says, first the trees. Aan die kant die muur is 'n groot boom met winterkaal takke. Ryan het 'n toiletrol en 'n rol armlengte. Ryan vat 'n toiletrol en rol 'n armlengte af. Dan tree hy terug met die punt van die toiletrol in sy linkerhand en gooi die rol met sy regterhand. Dit trek geluidloos deur die donker oor die muur. Bullseye, sê Ryan. Die wit toiletpapier bons tussen die boom se takke deur en soos 'n spookwit streep soos dit afrol. My beurt, fluister Div. Hy slinger sy toiletrol deur die lug. Die toiletpapier trek dwars oor die boom en die leë rolletjie land met 'n skaars hoorbare klikgeluid iewers op die plaveisel of 'n stoep. Moenie nou al die huis raak gooi nie, waarsku Ryan. Dis vir later. Met my eerste probeerslag vlieg die toiletpapier rakelings oor die boom se laagste takke. Ek speel ongelukkig nie so goed cricket soos Ryan nie. Mooi Luan, fluister Ryan nogtans. Ek grinnik en vat nog 'n rol. Binne 'n oogwink is die hele boom vol bleekwit strepe soos die toiletpapier deur die takke vleg. Dis genoeg, besluit Ryan. Nou vir die huis. Hy vat 'n nuwe rol toiletpapier en rol 'n stuk af. Dan doop hy dit in die water. Hy slinger die nat bol toiletpapier oor die muur. Daar's 'n dowwe plof soos dit die huis se muur tref. Right, so what they're doing is on the other side of the house, of the wall of the house, there's a massive big tree with trees that are bare because it's winter. Ryan takes a roll of toilet paper and rolls off an arm's length. Then he steps back and he takes the end of the toilet roll in his left hand and he throws the roll with his right hand. It flies silently through the dark over the wall. And he says bullseye because the white roll of toilet paper bounces between the branches of the tree, and everywhere it bounces it leaves a white trail as the toilet paper unravels. Then Div says it's my turn, and he throws his toilet roll through the air. Unfortunately for Div, the toilet paper goes right over the tree and lands on the other side of the tree, somewhere on the stoop of the house or on a step. And Ryan quickly says to him, don't throw the toilet rolls at the house yet, that's for later. On Luan's first try, he throws the toilet roll and it just basically gets over the lowest sort of branches of the tree. And he wasn't very happy with his throw because he doesn't play cricket as well as Ryan and them. But Ryan still said to him, nice throw, Luan. And he smiled and took another roll. Within the wink of an eye, the whole tree was full of pale white toilet paper streaks all over the tree. And then Ryan said, that's enough, now for the house. And he took a new roll of toilet paper and he rolled a bit off and then he dipped the whole thing in toilet paper. And then he threw the whole wet roll of toilet paper over the wall. There was a dull thud as it hit the wall of the house. Dit was volgende. Ek kan amper nie wag tot dit my beurt is nie. Die nat, koue klont toiletpapier trek deur die lug. Ongelukkig kan ek nie sien wat dit tref nie, maar ek verbeel my ek kan die sloppergeluid hoor. Ons gooi die een toiletpapierbom na die ander. Party los wit kolle teen die huis se donker mure en op die dak. Slop, slop, slop. Ek sweer ek kan voel hoe die adrenalien deur my are begin vloei. Dis sy flippend verdiende loons, sis Ryan. Hy smyt nog 'n stuk toiletpapier deur die lug. Dit sal hom leer. Hoekom klink hy skielik so kwaad? Ek steek my hand in die sak. Die toiletpapier is op. Kom ons waai, sê ek. Wag eers, sê Ryan. Hy stap 'n end weg en tel iets op. My maag gee 'n benoude draai. Ryan trek sy arm terug en gooi. Daar's 'n harde klapgeluid toe die klip die huis se teeldak tref. Hy buig dadelik af en tel nog 'n klip op. So it seems like Ryan has got a little bit of anger issues. So Div was next, and he couldn't wait Luan for his turn because the wet, clingy clumps of toilet paper flying through the air. Unfortunately, they couldn't see what it hit on the other side, but Luan could just imagine the sloppy sound as it hit the wall on the other side of the house on the other side of the wall. They kept throwing one toilet bomb after the other, toilet paper bomb. Some of them left wet splotches or white splotches on this dark walls of the house. Slop, slop, slop. And he could feel the adrenaline flowing through his veins. And then Ryan started shouting, it's what he deserves. That'll teach him. And Luan's suddenly realizing, why is Ryan so angry? And he puts his hand back in the bag and there's no more toilet paper. So he says, okay, let's go. Ryan says, wait, just wait. And he walks away and he picks up something and he comes back and suddenly Luan's got this like horrible feeling in his stomach. And Ryan pulls back his arm and he throws. And there's a hard sound as the stone hits one of the tiles on the roof. And then immediately he bent down and he picked up another stone. This is Ryan. This is all Ryan. Clearly Ryan is very angry about something. Div volg sy voorbeeld. Div follows Ryan's example. Daar's 'n ry klippe om een van die beddings op die sypaadjie gepak. And there's like a row of stones around one of the flower beds on this pavement. Ek huiwer eers, maar Ryan stop 'n klip in my hand. Met bewende vingers vat ek dit vas en slinger dit oor die heining. Dit land klatterend iewers in die donker. Lig gaan aan in die huis. Chips, sis Div. Ryan gooi weer, glas spat aan skerwe. Iemand huil, ons begin hardloop, my hart klop in my keel. Skielik is daar oral flitsende ligte. Staan net waar julle is, roep 'n kwaaie stem. Teen die kant van die kar staan die naam van 'n veiligheidsmaatskappy. Ek kyk verskrik rond. 2 karre met flitsende ligte op die dakke versper die uitgang van die singel. Oral om ons is duiwels verkheinings. Honde blaf woedend. 'n Skerp lig verblind my. Langs my kan ek Ryan en Div se asems oorjaag. Die adrenalien in my are wat 'n oomblik lank gelede so fantasties gevoel het, maak my skielik naar. Ons is vasgekeer. Okay, so they picked up the row of stones and then Luan didn't want to really get involved with stone throwing, but then Ryan put a stone in his hand and with trembling fingers he held it and he threw it over the fence. It landed on the other side somewhere in the dark. Then suddenly a light went on in the house and Div said chips, but then Ryan threw again and this time glass splattered or shattered and somebody was crying and then they started to run. And Luan's heart was beating in his throat again. And suddenly there were flashlights everywhere. And an angry voice said, stand where you are. And against the side of a car there was the name of a security company. And Luan looked around, frightened. 2 cars with flashing lights on the roof had blocked the exit from the crescent. And all around them there's these devil's forks fences, the security fences. And there's dogs barking angrily, and suddenly there's a sharp light that blinds Luan. Next to him you can hear Ryan and Div are like short of breath, and they're like struggling to breathe. And the adrenaline that a moment ago was that a fantastic feeling for Luan suddenly is making him feeling very nauseous because they are trapped. En dis die einde van hoofstuk 19.